Virgo is one of the most misunderstood signs in the entire zodiac. People think Virgos have it all together: organized, smart, reliable. But here's the truth nobody talks about. Being a Virgo comes with a weight that most people will never understand. The endless thinking, the impossible standards, the feeling that no matter how hard you try, it is never quite enough. Virgos are not just perfectionists. They are people who were basically wired from birth to suffer in silence, overthink everything, and hold the world together while falling apart on the inside. And if you were born between August 23rd and September 22nd, you already know exactly what this feels like. Let's start with the most obvious one: perfectionism. Everyone talks about it like it is some kind of superpower. And sure, it pushes Virgos to do incredible work. But what people do not see is what happens behind the scenes. A Virgo can spend 3 hours redoing something that was already good, just because one small detail was off. They will rewrite a text message 4 times before sending it. They will redo a project at midnight because something did not sit right. This is not a choice. It is almost automatic. The brain of a Virgo will not let things go. And the worst part? Even after all that effort, Virgos are still not satisfied. The finish line keeps moving, the bar keeps rising, and no matter how much they do, there is always a voice in the back of their head saying it could have been better. This is exhausting. Not just physically, but mentally. The constant pressure Virgos put on themselves is something most people would crack under. But Virgos just keep going, because stopping feels worse than pushing through. If there is one thing that defines a Virgo more than anything else, it is overthinking. And this goes way beyond just thinking too much. Virgos do not just think about a problem. They analyze it, break it down, look at it from every angle, consider every possible outcome, and then think about it all over again. A simple decision that takes most people 30 seconds can take a Virgo 30 minutes. Because their brain needs to calculate every risk before moving forward. This is what makes Virgos so sharp and so capable. But it also makes daily life a quiet kind of exhausting. Because the overthinking does not stop when the task is done. It bleeds into relationships, into conversations, into moments that were supposed to be relaxing. A Virgo lying in bed at 2 a.m. is not lying there by choice. Their brain just will not shut off. They are replaying things that happened, preparing for things that have not happened, and analyzing things that may never happen at all. And here is something that makes it even harder. Most people around them have no idea this is going on. From the outside, Virgos look calm and collected. But inside, there is a machine running at full speed at all times. Virgos are without a doubt their own worst critics. When someone else makes a mistake, a Virgo can usually understand it and move on. But when a Virgo makes that same mistake, they will hold on to it for weeks, sometimes longer. They replay the moment in their head. They think about what they should have said or done differently. They carry guilt and embarrassment long after everyone else has forgotten it. This self-criticism is not random. It comes from the same place as the perfectionism. Virgos hold themselves to standards that they would never apply to anyone else. They forgive others easily, but they are almost incapable of giving themselves that same grace. And over time, that wears on a person. It creates a quiet kind of low self-worth that is hard to explain and even harder to shake. On the surface, a Virgo seems confident and put together. But dig a little deeper, and you will usually find someone who genuinely does not believe they are good enough, even when all the evidence says otherwise. Here is something Virgos almost never talk about. They feel everything deeply. People assume Virgos are cold or detached because they do not always show emotion the way other signs do. But that could not be further from the truth. Virgos feel deeply. They just do not know what to do with it. So instead of expressing it, they analyze it. Instead of letting it out, they process it alone. And when the emotion gets too big to process, they shut down completely. This creates a pattern that plays out in almost every Virgo's life. Something happens that hurts them. Instead of saying so, they go quiet. they pull back. They start acting like everything is fine when it is not. And the people around them are left confused, wondering what changed and why the Virgo suddenly seems distant. The Virgo is not trying to push people away. They just have not figured out how to bridge the gap between what they feel and what they can say out loud. And because Virgos are so private about their emotions, they often end up carrying things alone that they should be sharing with someone. They take on stress quietly. They process heartbreak quietly. They struggle quietly. And that isolation, even when it is self-imposed, is one of the hardest parts of being a Virgo. Virgos are natural problem solvers. When someone they care about is going through something hard, a Virgo is right there, ready to listen, ready to help, ready to figure out a solution. They put real time and energy into the people in their lives. They notice the small things. They remember the important dates. They show up when it matters. But when it is the Virgo who needs help, they almost never ask for it. Partly because asking for help feels like admitting weakness, and Virgos hate that feeling. And partly because they have convinced themselves that their problems are not serious enough to burden someone else with. So they handle it alone. They push through it alone. And they end up running on empty while still managing to show up for everyone else around them. This is one of the most draining patterns a Virgo can fall into. Giving constantly without receiving. Being the reliable one, the steady one, the one who has it together. It is a role that comes naturally to Virgos. But it is also a role that, if not balanced, leads to serious burnout. Virgos have a specific way they think things should be done. And when the people around them do not meet that standard, it bothers them. Not because Virgos are arrogant or think they are better than everyone else, but because they genuinely cannot understand how someone could do something carelessly when doing it right takes only a little more effort. This leads to a lot of frustration in daily life, at work, at home, in relationships. Virgos can come across as critical or hard to please, and sometimes people pull away because they feel like they can never get it right in a Virgo's eyes. The sad part is that most Virgos are not trying to make people feel that way. They are just holding the world to the same standard they hold themselves. But since the standard they hold themselves to is nearly impossible, everyone else ends up falling short too. And it creates a loneliness that is hard to explain. A feeling of being surrounded by people, but still feeling like nobody really gets it. Studies show that earth signs, especially Virgo, are among the most prone to anxiety in the zodiac. And that lines up with everything else on this list. The overthinking, the perfectionism, the emotional suppression, the high standards, all of it feeds directly into a cycle of anxiety that many Virgos live with every single day. It is not always the dramatic, obvious kind. Most of the time it is quiet, a background hum of worry that never fully goes away, a constant checking and rechecking, a sense that something is about to go wrong even when everything is fine. Virgos learn to function around it. They build routines and systems to manage it. They stay busy because staying busy means the brain has less room to spiral. But underneath all of that structure is a person who is constantly working hard just to feel okay. One of the best things about a Virgo is their loyalty. When a Virgo is in your corner, they are fully in your corner. They will go out of their way for the people they care about. They will sacrifice their time, their energy, sometimes even their own needs, to be there for someone else. But this level of dedication often gets taken for granted. Because Virgos do it so naturally and so consistently, people start to expect it. And when the Virgo eventually reaches their limit and steps back, people act surprised, like they never saw it coming. Virgos give a lot, and they do not always get that same energy back. And while they rarely say it out loud, that imbalance is something they feel deeply. It builds up over time, quietly, the way most things do for a Virgo, until one day they just go cold. Not out of cruelty, but out of pure exhaustion. So yes, Virgos have incredible strengths. Their attention to detail, their work ethic, their loyalty, their ability to think through problems that would stop most people cold. But those same qualities come with a shadow side that is rarely talked about. And the thing is, The traits that make life hardest for Virgos are the same traits that make them some of the most capable, dependable, and deeply intelligent people in any room. The question is whether that cost is worth it. And maybe the more important question is this: what happens to a Virgo who finally decides to stop holding everything together and just let themselves fall apart for a little while? Because the answer to that might change everything you think you know about this sign.